friends.
They said she wasn't feeling well. She had alcohol poisoning. They couldn't get a pulse. Each one of the people that was there with her was telling different stories.
Shanquella Robinson thought she was about to have the time of her life when she left for Mexico with 5 of her friends. But this daydream soon turned into her biggest nightmare. Just a day after the group's arrival at their resort, Shanquella was found dead. Her death was anything but natural, and even though her travel companions tried to portray it as such, her family and lawyers won't let them tell lies. Shanquella's lawyer has finally exposed the many lies about the Cabo 6. Shanquella's family has had enough of the lies that keep circulating the internet about her death. Now, they're ready to call out all the lies and set the record straight. Attorney Sue Ann, who is representing Shanquella's family, spoke to none of the people who accompanied Shanquella on the trip to her death, but there's one thing she has clarified. Sue Ann wants everyone to know that calling the monsters who killed Shanquella her friends is unacceptable. These were absolutely not her friends. I'd never referred to them as her friends. You'd think what the big deal here is. After all, Shanquella traveled to another country with these people, so they must have been her friends. That wasn't the case at all. And calling them her friends only confuses the public about the truth of the incident. Sue Ann spoke about this issue. I can say that language is so important. The first obstacle that I've had to combat in representing this family is the amount of misinformation that is in the public. It isn't just attorney Sue Ann who has had issues with the way the media has portrayed this group of people she traveled with as her friends. Attorney Sue Ann said her family members will not refer to the majority of the travel mates as her friends. She actually only had a close relationship with one of the travel mates. The rest of the people were all essentially strangers to Shanquella. They had all come together for the sake of this trip and didn't know Shanquella much before that. The rest of the individuals were just that, travel mates, people she was traveling with or not necessarily with. But they met up at this villa for this particular vacation. This seemingly distinction is actually an extremely important detail. Everyone had just assumed that these were her friends and well-wishers, but that wasn't the case at all. These people weren't Shanquella's friends, and she was vulnerable and unsafe with them. It infers that Shanquella had some issue with her judgment, and if these are her friends, it allows a set of rhetoric and a set of narrative around her murder that has nothing to do with her as a person or how she came to be murdered. It's clear that these people were not her friends or her well-wishers. They pretended to be Shanquella's friends and acted as if they tried to save her while she passed away from alcohol poisoning. But all this was a white lie. This bugged Shanquella's mother, as the group had given her a diagnosis even before the doctor had arrived. It's clear as day now that the group was just making sure they had a cover story to hide their crimes. But the truth came out once the shocking video of Shanquella getting beaten by her friend at the resort got viral. The same friends that were pretending to call the police over her alcohol poisoning had assaulted her to the point that her spine was seriously injured. She hadn't died of alcohol poisoning at all. She was murdered in cold blood by her friend while the other travel mates stood there making videos and riling them on. Even this police officer was taken aback by the cruelty of these bystanders.
Can you at least fight back?
All 6 of them had an opportunity to stop that situation. Neither one of them didn't do nothing about it. Who give them the right to take a life?
After Shanquella's brutal murder, these people left her body in Mexico and came back to America.
Further mystery of this case is that the people that she was with when she died, they let leave Mexico.
At that time, it wasn't clear why her so-called friends would rush back to America right after her death, but it all makes sense now. They were trying to get out of Mexico as soon as possible so that they wouldn't be questioned. They continued to pretend to be Shanquella's friends and even visited the grieving family to talk about the funeral. Shanquella's mother now thinks back over how cruel and shameless their behavior had been, knowing full well what they had done to her daughter. It's important that we call these 5 people out for what they are, cruel animals who took a life without remorse and are still roaming free. Shanquella's family hasn't lost hope that their sweet daughter will get justice. Until then, they will continue to fight for it. People all over the world are looking at the authorities to give Shanquella the justice she deserves. One person expressed her shock at the killers still walking free. I can't believe the Cabo 6 getting away with how they did that girl. Shanquella Robinson praying for her family. Others think that the case is a clear example of how not every person can be trusted. People may appear friendly but soon may turn on you. One person wrote, "All my life I have been selective of the females I kept around me. Kennicott Jenkins' honest Shanquella Robinson solidified the reason I don't hang around too many females or people in general. People are moving with ulterior motives." That's it for today, folks. Until next time, goodbye.